Oh, you're.
I'm emailing it to them.
Okay. Sorry.
All right, we are, Jerry, anything important, write it down, because I can't write in. I'm just saying.
You're inches from a clean gun.
Alright.
I'm just saying.
And we are back, and IRCEA, we made some slight, we made some slight changes. First of all, one change is we thought that it should go to the semester, and one of the things that brought up is the option virtual goes through the semester anyway. So,
Transitionally, how did that look for us, district? For transitional, the question is whether we do the first 9 weeks for transitional and for the rest of the MOU, or should the whole thing go through the semester? The option,
I think we had Kelly, Rick, I don't know if you hear me, but I think we had, if it was going to be, so we had to make a 9 weeks commitment.
transition.
That's what was asked of the parents, but I guess the question is the question, do we want to go ahead and have an MOU that could extend the semester if necessary, or do we just go with, an understanding of it's just first 9 weeks? Because the reality is we don't know, right? I mean, none of us know if it would continue the second quarter, but if we went ahead and said that, with some sort of language, definitely for the first quarter and then potentially for the second quarter, if, extended, then maybe that saves us some time.
Mr. Meyer?
Yes.
It does not prohibit option 3 from ending at 9 weeks at all. This
Okay.
just makes the entire MOU continue on through the semester.
if I may.
And we added number 15
Yes.
also, which allows us to come back to the table.
If we have any significant
Any significant
changes.
changes.
So,
Why would we not do it for the first 9 weeks and then come back to renew it? Because the whole thing with masks, with social distancing, et cetera, could radically change between now and then.
Well, I think.
That's
they
what
take
15
care of that.
does.
15.
15 opens it up.
Yeah.
and if something does radically change, of course we want, but by the same token, do we want to, I mean, truthfully, I'm hoping that we're going to be busy negotiating the regular contract really soon. Well, absolutely, and then we get to sell it and vote on it and everything. I don't want to cloud us with having to redo what we've already done. It just extends the entirety, and let's go through it, maybe there's things that,
Let's do that and then we'll decide. All right, so
I just
I don't know.
replaced mask with face covering, just
Good.
because the shield may be sufficient, and I missed it. We have no changes to
That was us, sorry.
and
I'm working on it, Ren.
the specificity of, in order to receive COVID leave and use your personal sick leave, MBUs will follow because, I mean, if I have a fever and I do not think that it's related to COVID, I don't need to go and get a test. I can just take a day of my sick leave.
Right. for the
But
normal procedures.
if I want, I must follow those protocols, is really what that specifying it for the
I'm
teachers.
okay with that.
And 5, 6, 7, 8, we were good. We just added copier/printer access because, you don't want us making 100 copies on a printer.
It's very expensive.
Principals can accommodate that, yes.
Which I think, yeah.
Most of them
Most
are.
of them are the copier/printer.
A lot of schools do have it set up and routine set up.
Very good.
Okay, I'm getting ready to email it out to you all. I had to find the file, sorry.
We haven't gotten too far yet, so you're all good.
Now, 10, we saw 10 and 11
Mhm.
as combined, as elements of 10. 11 was an element of 10. So what we did is I added, yes, there is a slight Roman numeral, but relax, it's only the little ones.
She just can't get off it.
She can't, but I'm sorry, I can't. Liz,
What do you need?
I can't find the
So
file.
we just talked about it being a
I've
process.
saved it twice and it won't come up
Virtual
on here.
teaching needs will be determined. We have the hard part about the word solely. In general,
So
teaching
when I go
assignments
to
are the
attach
district
file,
purview.
I
But
go browse,
based on
and
this,
I go to
it's not
box.
solely, it's, you know,
and
it's
I go
based
to the
on other
courses.
things.
It's
So
all
that's why we
listed and
just,
I did.
a semantical,
Yeah, and our purpose there is to retain that management right. for
And I go
assignment.
here,
and we're not
Ah.
asking you to, we just wanted that
put it
word.
in here.
Got it.
It still means the same
I just had to come
thing,
scare the
but
computer.
it's
That's fine.
now based upon this as well, the criteria.
Okay.
Okay.
As
I
long
just
as
sent
you're
it.
okay with our right to, the district reserves the right to decline placement on the individual for option 2 or 3 due to an option 1 person staffing needs, and that's where solely comes into play, is we have to have last ability to say we have to do this from a staffing standpoint.
Absolutely, and I mean, truthfully, the only reason there was a change was there was a space in there, and that, it had nothing to do with it, was, you know.
I'm comfortable with that.
And again, once we
Mhm.
track changes, then we
Yeah.
can fix the space, which bothers me. Issue. I spent a while on that, I apologize.
Let me give you the number for the,
Uh-huh. So we felt like these 3 items, and that's it, so it's 1, 2, and 3, fall under A.
I'm comfortable
Does that
with
make sense?
Yeah,
It
that's
just-
the organization.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
So in 11, schedule
Give me a
is,
second.
That's okay, Gary. I forgot you.
yeah. And then what we wanted to do is because because of, you have 2 different options there that have vastly different needs. So we tried to address that with, class size for option 2 shall not exceed 120 for elementary, 150 for secondary as necessary. The reason we have the shall and as necessary, it does give you some leeway, because you have 155 students that need to be placed, we will not challenge you. If you have 190, 100, and 200, that's where we're gonna say,
Well, that's funny that you brought that up, because you're gonna propose that 120 on the elementary, but up to 200 on the secondary.
oh, all right, so here's one of the things. If you're doing an ELA class, 120 essays. Oh. Well, wait.
150 essays.
Are the essays, so how, because I know with Edgenuity, yes, if I remember correctly with course recovery, it was still the teacher who had to grade the specific essays.
Richard and Kelly, can you speak to that item?
Barely hear it, I'm sorry. There's essay grading requirements, if I'm not mistaken, when I did the course recovery, the guidance counselors were grading the essays. When you're looking at 200 essays, that's
That's a nightmare.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all.
you know, and I mean, the hard part is, you know, I mean, I understand if you're doing predominantly, and I'm not picking on math, but math where it's not, there's not as many follow-up activities, then I do understand where you can have more students. But if there are additional grading requirements, so I don't know how to maneuver that in language.
No, and to be honest with you, I think that that's something we need to be cognizant of on the administrative end. We can't overload teachers with that work and expect a good quality instruction. So I would defend you guys on that. I mean, we don't want to make it unbearable for the teacher in option 2 and option 3, because ultimately the kids are punished. So I agree that the language as necessary should give us the opportunity to, put more in a class that doesn't require as much grading, but then, less in one that does. And we need to listen to that. I mean, that's part of the coaching that we should be doing to improve instruction. So any language that would allow us to, have some flexibility, I think is a good thing, because you're absolutely right. It does look different. And grade level to grade level, right? I mean, a 10th grade essay is different than a 5th grade essay. And so the amount of words and the types of work required to grade those, looks tremendously different. And I think that that's just something we all need to be. So it does become, you
So
know,
are you okay with the as necessary?
I like it, yeah.
So if we're okay with the as necessary, can we have a little more room up to 170 or 175 in terms of flexibility there?
I think
And yeah, which number?
170.25. 170.5. 172.5.
So can we look at that?
170, yeah. 170, Mr. Meyer, Ms. Basura.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would say that some classes you could easily do 170, right? I just think that, you know, until we get going with this, we need to be as flexible as possible. If we do, there's definitely some that 170 would be too easy, right? Because the whole class is working trend-paced modules. And quite honestly, the teacher doesn't have to give hardly any feedback. So, you know, it could be high, but I don't want to aim too high and then they're drowning in it, and you know we're not able to give them the support that's necessary, because we don't want teachers to feel unsupported in this process. We want them to feel like they're accomplishing, you know, but we do need to recognize that you can get a lot of students into these Edgenuity classes and monitor them. So 170 sounds good to me too.
So a teacher course load is about 150, right?
I'm sorry, Ms. Basora, what?
Kelly, you're muted on your laptop. We can hear you through his, but not very clearly.
Rick answered it. Never mind.
Okay.
I think that just
Thank
trying
you.
to compare it to some other numbers, yeah.
You also have proposed class size for option 3 should not exceed 1.5 the normal class size there. We're hoping for,
Well, if you look at this,
15.
if you look at it, it goes 8, so 18 is 27, right? 1.5. 22 is 33, and 25 is 37.5. Is that rounded to 38?
And again, we're not, yes.
We're not clear.
Just,
Does that work?
So this is actually the one that why I wanted them to come in,
Yeah.
because this is the one where we're having
Well,
the
and this
most.
is the one where we wanted hard
Struggle.
numbers.
So Rick, Kelly, did y'all hear that? It would be 27, 33, and 37.5.
38.
It's another one where if we could have some flexibility there, it may be good, right? I think that I hadn't thought about it like this as far as a multiplier. We were looking at more like a hard cap, like in addition to, you know, X number of additional students. But keep in mind, just like a normal class size average, there's going to be fluctuations, right? And so, and also depending on the course, you know, will some courses with transitional be easier to have more students in them? So like, let's take PE. You know, I think I could do a transitional course with PE and you could have a lot of students in it, but that's not a class size necessarily course. So, you know, different things like that, you know, what do we, you know.
And we have generalized, and I mean, this is giving you guys the flexibility, because while in our county, we do not have currently a non-core class size limit, but we have unwritten limits. So in essence, and I'm gonna just, I may be wrong, let's just say there's 30 in a PE class, that's gonna give you up to 45 in the online PE class.
Did we identify just the core classes?
That is how it's written.
Again, we're trying to give you guys the flexibility that you need, but by the same token, giving our teachers something, some kind of top out.
Yeah,
Now, when
and
you schedule this and all of a sudden you say, we can't meet this, we are more than willing to
welcome.
come back and make adjustments to the MOU. Because like I said, we're doing all of this blindly. And so we are not trying to hamstring you guys in the slightest.
no,
But
I
protect our.
recognize that. I appreciate it, Liz. I think it's great. Can we add the as necessary? And I'll give you an example why I'm concerned. In order to make this work, to get the teachers, you know, to be able to have this opportunity, we may need to combine across schools, right? So when looking at some of the numbers right now, the students that are, you know, signing up for a traditional class, let's just throw out 3 elementary schools. I'm just going to, the first ones that come to mind on the south side, IRA, Citrus, Glendale. Let's say that, you know, across first grade, it's only like a few kids per. We would need one section combined for all of them. If that were to sort of top out above the 1.5 by a kid, you know, I wouldn't want to send that extra kid to another whole group. You would want to keep those 3 schools together, right? And then as necessary, then if it got too big, then we would need.
Just say, we would not.
And the other thing about it is, it does specify class size average. So let's say you're K through 3, maybe your kindergarten class is a little bit smaller. That gives you the leeway in your first grade. We're trying, like I said, we are desperately trying to give you guys the flexibility that you need. We just want to have a little bit of protection. And I promise you, I know that if when you sit there and go through, because a lot of this stuff isn't going to actually come to fruition until those 3 weeks when we're all together.
Right.
And you say, oh my God, we can't meet this. We promise we will come back to the table and adjust as needed.
Oh, we appreciate that flexibility.
Because again, we're flying blind here. And so flying blind, this was where I chose to shoot the target.
No, I like it. I like it. Can we do as necessary though, just in case there's that one kid?
I wrote it in and.
Yeah. I think that's going to give us the flexibility that we need, because we need it too, right? To your point, we need on the scheduling side to have a target to shoot for. And so 1.5 gives us a target to shoot for, that if we say, well, gosh, to combine these 3 schools, it's going to go over by 1. All right, that's okay now. But if it grows, we've got to, get another teaching unit in there, because we need something as well. And so as long as it's flexible enough to, not be so rigid, I think that's the fear, and not being reasonable about it. And it does come back to the type of class and the grade level, so on and so forth. I mean, I'm from reading, right? I mean, I'm being protected by ELA teachers, as compared to how much they have to grade. So, and we want good quality outcomes. We want the teachers to feel comfortable, confident in teaching this so they get good outcomes. So we don't want it to be, so ridiculously overloaded with students that can't be successful. But we do recognize that in this distance learning, they can do more than, their traditional space. I like it. I mean, I think that those, what we just talked about, will give us the opportunity to schedule so that those teachers that are doing these options can be successful, and they, allow the teachers doing brick and mortar to have a smaller number of students in the class so that we can appropriately social distance and keep those teachers safe as well. I think it's good, Scott. I don't really.
Okay,
All right,
I'm good with it.
all right, we're good.
And then we specify, of course, as an option 3 will be managed in Canvas, and all grades reported as all 3 options. If I have,
Right, that's good addition, yeah.
all right, no changes to 12, 13, we just 100% of this time shall be utilized.
Yeah, comfortable.
Okay, and then we added the last 2. So 14 is that adaptation from the contract language. So in lieu of Article 13D3, up to 1.5 days or its equivalent per week of the pre-planning period will be used for professional development meetings, including but not limited to faculty meetings, variable meetings, and department meetings. The remaining pre-planning days shall be identified as teacher work days to be used at the MBU's discretion, with a maximum of 6 hours designated for and posted as student orientation. Our current contract language has 3. We added 6 because I know with a by appointment only, that's going, and it's probably going to be spread over days and things like that.
Yeah, and I don't think any one teacher will be over 6 hours.
Yes.
And that's 1.5 days per week.
Per week of that
Yeah, I
first
mean,
3
it just
weeks.
mirrors that
Of the
regular,
pre-planned
yeah,
time.
the easiest way.
Yeah.
Which right now is 3 weeks, so, yeah.
The orientation with the back to school, do you usually do that in the evenings, or?
So, okay, this is another
How
one
do
of those
we
things.
get, how do we get?
That
this
knows
thing
what I'm
going?
talking about. It used to be, once upon a time, it was during the day, and then open house was in the evening. We do have contract language, meaning 1.
Are we done with them?
Oh, yeah, they don't.
Hey, Rick, Kelly, we can let y'all go now. Thank you.
Just thinking the same thing. As much as I do want to talk about this, I came out of the cabinet meeting, so I'm gonna go back over. But text if you need me to come back. We'll join you guys again. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay, thank you.
Everybody waves.
It's the new thing. You can't shake, you have to
In
wait.
recent years, and Dr. Rendell pushed this much more than anybody, where we wanted to have the evening orientation. And, okay, well, what are you giving individuals in, because technically only one of those nights can be required. Most teachers do want to do that. The orientation, so that's where it's been. But like, I mean, we are in weird times, so.
Here's the other thing about orientation. Orientation has been used to meet teachers, see your classroom, blah, blah, blah. And then fill out paperwork until your ears bleed.
Yes.
Why the paperwork can't be put online through Focus?
Different elementary and secondary.
Yes.
Yes, I know.
I mean, in
Yes,
elementary,
secondary.
I'm not kidding, there's, would you say 10 pages?
Oh,
And I might even
easily
be,
10
that's
So I
conservative.
I'm not we're not promising anything, but I asked Craig McDonald today, would it be possible with some girl thinking there's elementary, that all that paperwork is a lot of teacher-based stuff, not the district paperwork, like the network, that's all gonna go digital, yes. But the teacher, and he said the only way that you might be able to do that is to do like in the announcements, a link to a Microsoft form, but it's gonna have to be like site-based. And it was just like a
But we
quick
can
conversation
get
today.
the demographic and the health and
All the
all
district
the district
paperwork.
paperwork, can that go online?
Yes.
You know, it'd be really cool, since we're on the really cool thing right now, is if that paperwork is online and in order to set your appointment to do orientation, it needs to be done.
Ooh.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
And then you can set your appointment.
Then we
Not-
also have current numbers and email addresses
But
for our
not,
parents.
not open house, that's a different
Yeah,
deal.
not that I don't like that idea, but what happens when you have the parent that has no access?
Can we not put one or two in the cafeteria that night, where they can social distance, go in here, and then come back to their appointment? Kind of thing,
Station, so I think we need more than one or two.
as an example.
Yeah.
Are
So,
you talking about
yeah, the open,
orientation?
Don't know orientation, open house is different.
Like the secondary?
Everybody comes open house.
Yeah.
Well, we had orientation and schedule.
Right.
the only,
Yes,
the
so-
only thing, and I'm thinking about
And I do,
honoring the word that I've given the CWA about bringing people onto campus. And we're setting a maximum occupancy in each office. I'm just trying to think how I know we can make this happen, I'm just trying to think about how we can do that. Because I told the CWA that, we will not be bringing any,
to that last week now.
well, it would be the end of the second week. So their people will come back on the 10th, get them trained, and I think that Thursday and Friday is when we send it
Since
to
we're
them.
gonna extend it to the next week.
And the other thing
Yeah.
is also, by appointment only, why can't some of the appointments be teams?
Well, I think they're.
I think that opportunity will definitely be there.
Because I also think I could do a teams open house. I could do teams parent conference.
Here's the thing.
I'd like to see better.
Here we are trying to figure it out, and the experts come back Monday. So-
And I'm just gonna throw that out because it fails me. Whatever we do, we need to have it translated.
That's true.
Because we are always and it's always, I'm sorry, it's always the district paperwork. We either get it in Spanish and not enough copies, or in English and not enough copies. We never get enough of what we need, and we're always waiting.
Are we defeating ourselves if we have the paper version of all the paperwork ready there in case we do have the family that comes in that doesn't have the opportunity to do it electronically, or doesn't feel comfortable doing it electronically?
One paper that comes with your health and demographics, because that's pre-printed by me.
Okay. If you're making your appointment, you can either send in or complete, or part of that appointment, the first part of that appointment is completion of. So, because the way I'm
That's true.
thinking that secondary is gonna occur is going to be similar to parent conferences, so that the students can go through, right? And, by doing this, then that allows for, one of those appointment slots can be to complete the, paperwork.
So the difference you have too, that the district needs to address somewhere publicly. In elementary, you don't just get a parent and a kid. You get the parents, the kids, the grandparents, the grandkids, the aunts, the uncles, the nieces. the
Cousin show!
And we
That
just,
actually
and we
came
just,
up the other day,
yeah, so we
You
just,
have
we
got
just
to
need,
limit numbers
yes,
on that.
yes.
You're laughing, but it is so.
No.
No.
Where I come from, yes.
Oh, my
It is.
goodness.
Well, and the hard, I mean, this may be, we have to,
Chester.
but we also have to address the
Yeah,
needs
Chester,
of
you're
some
down.
of these parents who have small children who have nowhere else to leave them. So I do understand, but grandma and grandpa need to stay. That, I'm gonna draw the line.
And the
there.
aunts.
They can
Uncles.
keep the other kids.
Yeah,
There you go. Okay, let's go back to our
All right,
contract.
let's go back to number 14. So Scott, are we comfortable with that language that's written on number?
That's in 3D.
I've actually read them.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay. All right. And the 6 hours?
I felt like we were trying to be as generous as possible because especially secondary, it's gonna be harder.
Yeah, I mean, I just, it's 6 hours, a lot of time. And
Can we also maybe, if this doesn't need to be written down, but maybe not 6 consecutive hours of
Yeah.
orientation, and we need to,
But it
really
says-
let administrators.
It's at a maximum of 6 hours. It doesn't
Maximum.
have to be 6
Yeah.
hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, right?
Yes. Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, and
And-
just kind of going back to how we did it before, because this was the night that wasn't necessarily required, or at least at most of the elementaries, I'm assuming at others, we were allowed, the teachers were allowed to come in a later time on that day because they were gonna stay later.
Yeah, absolutely.
I never did that. I was keeping good time.
This would allow the flexibility of your hours Thursday are going to be noon to,
Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, okay, Thursday I'll do afternoon. I may do a couple on Friday morning, then get to next week, Monday evening. I may stay late. I mean,
So kind of like we do our
Yeah.
conferences, that's essentially how we do our conferences, they're a week long, there's one night that's longer.
and if we get into this and we see that there's no way you can get it done in 6 hours, we come back and figure it
Or
out.
more or less. Yep.
Yep.
All right, so on number 15, my only suggested change there would be if changes are made to the board approved school reopening plan, or if other issues emerge that impact this
Other
MOU,
significant issues.
then we agree mutually to return the
well, I
agreement.
will put other issues.
Yeah, because we don't know what we don't know yet.
Obviously, impact that is.
Well, and as affecting working conditions.
So if you guys are comfortable with this,
I can
Yep.
retype and.
Yep.
Do it.
Just list to fix it right now, right?
Do
Oh,
it.
there was a typo that we saw earlier. Where was the?
Mask,
Did you fix it?
number 1.
Oh, the comma,
Yeah, I've got the math, there was a,
missing,
Therefore, need a comma.
therefore needed a comma. There was supposed to be a, an
two,
Oxford comma.
where is it? Students, number 3. Yeah, right here.
Oh, I wrote it on mine and I didn't carry it over there. There it is. I had it there. There was an Oxford comma missing somewhere and I think that one. Pretty sure I
You
put
put
it
a
on.
pen, it's right here, no, I think we got it.
No, that's not.
Oh, no, that's not the Oxford, it's up here. I think you fixed it. You did. This is another time you
Last
fixed it.
item, Scott, do you want to go through 1218 or can we do the first one? That's the last open question.
But I thought we all
I
decided.
think
the last
we
one.
go through this semester, and then if we have to come back and readjust, we come back and readjust. We can give us that option to do that.
So 1218?
I think that is, well, that's the last day of the semester.
Semester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I checked the,
You want this one, Liz?
The other question I have really quick before we're done,
Uh-huh.
we're taking this on to the other MOU, we need to put that on here anywhere that MOU is gonna follow this stuff.
Well, no, because.
Sorry, I
we
had to bring it over
separated the dates, So that MOU goes through the emergency period. This one has a specific end date at the end of the semester.
And we're still,
We're gonna end up back in September.
Precisely,
I think,
You and I marked that date.
we did. Yeah. I thought about that, but then I'm like. no,
I thought about it today
that's
too, and I'm
where
like,
it is. So, yeah.
Because we had talked about just, this being just attached to that.
Because even if the emergency order ends, we might finish out our transitional and just bring it, yeah.
so that's what we're doing. I think y'all need to raise the dues, and get better air conditioner there.
Oh,
After-
my bad,
Oh,
yeah.
God, sorry.
Didn't even think about it.
We're sorry.
Why do you think we all hang out in here?
No,
It's not so much that, it's, that,
We're losing them quick.
that room is hard. It does not,
Air conditioner, I'm back alive now, I'm good. Ready to eat my chocolate cake over here,
yeah, that area,
like I need it.
now you see why we no longer meet in that room and we meet in this
I
room.
can see that. Everybody likes-
When you put 12 people in there, it's like, oh.
And I'm always by the laptops that are blowing the hot air, so it's like, oh my God.
Really?
Let me know when you print, we can pick them up.
Okay. So just those changes, I can accept all changes and,
It's, you know, April was like another 80 days, so I don't
The
know.
170, that was the only,
oh,
that
I can fix that.
was the only thing I crossed through.
All right, see, this
Yeah, and I
is,
crossed that one too.
It is here. Wait, where's?
I know, I'm just, I have a,
It's under 11.
So I'm just trying to stay away from the shit.
What? Go back. Oh, you looking for something else? Right there.
okay, now I gotta fix this.
Oh, yeah, because it took.
Interest rates negotiating obviously almost never happens. It happens, and it's what we do about that. Some of the detail stuff we did, that you said.
I was prepared to just talk it over.
There we go.
Well, really, it's good that you know to it'll last.
We only need 2 printed copies.
Hey, Gary, are you still there?
No, because remember you said.
Oh, that's right, he had to leave. Never mind, Gary. For the record, never mind.
Sorry, they just had to look at me while I'm typing I just printed.
Yeah, Gary had to go deal with Martin, so.
Yeah, oh, God, there.
Yeah.
That's right.
Are we off the record now, or? are we
Oh, no,
still-
I was still recording.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause
One other
That's what
thing
we're
we
gonna
would
sign,
ask is we would like the opportunity to roll this to our principals, before you roll it to your members. So we would like through, we
Good
would
job.
like through what, tomorrow morning?
All right, no, I'm fixing that.
Here, she can't see anything.
Oh, okay.
Hang on,
we
you
will-
gotta
we will
see
be
Liz again.
until
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock to get this out to the folks, yeah.
Go back.
After that-
It'll take me that long just to write something to Facebook and stuff.
Lines were on the other page.
Oh, I'm gonna also change it. Nope, Jennifer, you're gonna get to sign it. How's that?
All righty.
Whoop, whoop.
Just print page 2. Print it all.
Printed it all.
Huh?
Oh, I can-
So hopefully the members will feel more confident as we move forward now that-
Jennifer, you need a blue pen.
Very successful.
I didn't sign the other one in blue.
Okay, well, she doesn't have a pen at all. Do you have a pen?
I do not, my friend.
Well, I have a black pen, so you can sign in that.
Here's a blue one.
Oh my gosh, it's signing the children. There's a lot of these.
The strangest July of all time.
I'm still not in that.
3D type.
Ready to go back to the-
I know.
All right, it's official.
Woo!
Excellent job.
Yep, the books.
Another one for the books. Another one for the record.
It's nice.
And there we go.
Liz, I don't know if you get to hear this,
It
but
stays with
we
me.
would like to have a couple hours to roll this to our principals and communicate. So we would ask that you guys So that we get that information out.
You are under the impression that we're quicker than we are.
So, Matt, I'll be emailing, calling, or texting you in a little bit here.
Okay,
As soon as we decide how we're gonna put this out and I get something written.
all right, that works.
We want to thank IRCA for everything today.
Yes. Thank you,
Appreciate
thank you
that.
for lunch, thank you for the hospitality.
Yep.
Thank you.
And, thank you for another,
Wish we'd thought.
Next
about
time
that.
next time I'll
thank you
I'll
for
have
another
that on you.
collaboration.
Yeah, I feel like this, and truthfully, knowing what some of our neighboring counties are going through,
Thank you very much.
I feel like this
Not following.
Big.
this is big.
I know where it's at.
And if next week you want to sign the salary package, we're ready and we'll have lunch.
You know, we had one here ready.
I can print a signature sheet for
We're
you
gonna have
today.
to provide, release the macaroni.
Are we still recording? I can't say what I said.
Okay.
We are,
I think we can go off the record at this point.
Hang on, I'm going to stop recording.
There you go.
Stop.